All too often, recklessness and tough behavior can lead to horrific injuries among teens or even death. Can you imagine seeing your best friend lying on the floor with a bullet in his head in front of hundreds of people watching it on Facebook Live? Let's dive into the next story about two young boys who've had the shock of their lives after playing with the wrong toys. This horrible accident watched by so many will never be forgotten. Stay till the very end to learn a valuable lesson that may just save your life someday. Welcome to your next Chills Before Sleep. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for us to provide you with more scary stories. Don't forget to enable all notifications to join our weekly cash giveaway pinned in the comments section. My name is Abel, and I'm a 23-year-old law student. I live in a small apartment with my girlfriend Rita, who is going through med school as well. We're a very happy and hardworking couple. I have to say that I've worked hard for the life that I do have now. It wasn't always like this. I came from a very poor household. An incident from my past still haunts me to this very day. It all started one day when me and my friend Jason were just 15. We lived in the bad part of the city because our parents could not afford anything else. His parents were addicts and would spend all their money on drugs. Whereas my mom raised me alone and worked multiple jobs just to support us. My dad was in prison for burglary and aggravated assault. I hadn't seen him in years. Jason and I were the best of friends. We had grown up together. Even when my father was around, he was mean and abusive. Jason had helped me through that, and I would stay at his house when my mom and dad were arguing with each other, and it got bad. Growing up poor wasn't easy, but somehow my mother and I always tried to make it work. We had each other, and that was enough for us. The day was a Saturday, and we were out having fun on our bikes. We had decided to ride near the old creek that day. It was usually an unsafe thing to do because there were usually drug deals happening in that part of town. Today, however, we decided to ride there regardless of the danger. Little did we know this decision would change our lives forever. When we were riding our bikes there, we saw a man standing on the bridge. He looked a little sketchy, so I decided to keep my distance from him. Jason saw the man's gold chain, and he was instantly enamored. "That looks so cool," said Jason, as he advanced towards the man. The man saw him and instantly put his hands to his holster, ready to shoot at any moment. "You scared me, kid," he said as he saw that we were just two little kids. "Sup?" asked the man, who said his name was Jeff. "You look cool," remarked Jason. "Thank you, little fellow," said Jeff as he took out a gun. "Do you want to touch it?" I hesitated. I stayed back, but Jason walked ahead and touched it. Jeff asked me to come forward too, but I did not comply. He did not push the issue. "You can take it," said the man. Jason looked up with excitement. "Really?" exclaimed Jason as he took the gun. I was frozen with fear. Jeff gave Jason his gun and his number. Jason and I left that road after this interaction. I told him that I was not happy with him accepting that gun. He just shrugged me off and told me not to worry, but I could not stop worrying. Jason went back to his house. After that day, I did not see him for a while. He never would come to school, but he would always be online streaming. It had been 2 weeks since the incident, and he had not even come out of his house to meet me or hang out together. I decided enough was enough. I would go to Jason's house and talk to him. I wanted to ask him what was going on. I decided that I would visit him that Saturday. When Saturday came, my mom was working overtime at night. She told me to stay at home and lock all the doors, but unbeknownst to her, I would rebel that night. I made sure to lock all the doors as I left the house to visit Jason's. I wasn't sure if his parents were home, but I knew they would be too drugged up to even acknowledge me. or even care about me coming over. I went around the house to knock at his window. I wasn't sure if he was even in his room because I got no response. However, the drapes were open, and what I saw inside his room really scared me. There was a bag full of what appeared to be drugs on his desk. This really shocked me. I never thought Jason would go down this path as well. I thought he would see his parents as an example, and he'd know better. A minute later, Jason appeared inside the room. He looked happy to see me, and he opened the window. I climbed inside. I looked at him with disappointment in my eyes. I never thought you would do all of that, I said as I signaled towards the packet of drugs with my eyes. He told me that he was not selling the drugs. He was helping Jeff with the packages. I tried to tell him that Jeff was just using him, but Jason just wouldn't listen at all. Later on, Jason pulled out a bundle of cash from his backpack. I was shocked. So this is what you've been doing instead of coming to school? Dealing drugs? I yelled at him like a parent. Well, yes, said Jason, kind of ashamed. But I've made money. I was so angry at that moment. I wanted him to have a good education so we can get out of this dead town and live a good life. I couldn't even fathom how my best friend had fallen down this slippery slope right in front of my eyes. I'm actually happy you came, said Jason. I was about to go live on Facebook. He had his camera already set up. I was astonished to see this. I wanted to talk to him and try to get him to stop acting like this, but he was too engrossed in his new life to listen to me. He started his Facebook Live and people started joining. He said hello to everyone and chatted for a while. All I could do at this time was sit on his bed and stare at him. I felt like I could not identify this person in front of me. Everything was normal until Jason pulled a gun out of his bag. I was horrified to watch that. I stood up fast and yelled, "What the fuck? Stop it!" "Dude, chill," he whispered to me, covering up the phone speaker so his live audience couldn't hear. "It's not loaded." I was momentarily assured, but what scared me was his next words to his audience. "Today, we're gonna play Russian roulette," he said to the chat as he pointed the gun at me. I closed my eyes as he cocked the gun. I wanted to tell him to stop, but I was frozen in fear. The next few seconds felt like an eternity. I heard the click as he drew the hammer back. After squeezing the trigger, it was accompanied by a click. I opened my eyes. I felt no pain. No bullet had left the gun, but I couldn't help but feel a wave of relief wash over me. "Guess Abel won that one," said Jason, laughing as he turned the gun on himself. He cocked the gun, and I closed my eyes. Even though he told me the gun was not loaded, my suspicion turned out to be false as I heard a loud bang that almost made me jump out of my skin. I opened my eyes to see a horrifying sight. My best friend was lying on the floor, missing half of his face. There was blood all over the floor, and Jason's phone lay near his desk. I screamed his name as I rushed towards him. I put pressure on the wound to stop the blood loss. How did this happen? I thought Jason said the gun was not loaded. Regardless, I picked up Jason's phone and I dialed 911. I told them my friend had been shot and they were sending an ambulance. I looked at him and saw that it was really bad. His breathing became shallow and labored, turning into gulps, as if he were struggling to take in any air. He even started making weird noises in his effort to breathe. My stomach turned after hearing these sounds, because I knew what they meant. The sound of my best friend agonally breathing still haunts me to this day. It was true. Jason had been dying. In fact, I had helplessly watched as all the life left his body. Tears started filling my eyes. The paramedics arrived a little too late. My friend was too far gone, and there was no medical intervention they could do to bring him back. Due to the circumstances of his death, the police were called. They took my statement and they seized the gun along with the drugs. In fact, Jason's parents were taken away to custody for possession of drugs and neglect of their child. I was given an earful from my mother, but I know that after hearing what had happened, she was very worried, but she was also relieved that I was safe. I used to get a lot of nightmares following the incident, and my mom always tried to be there for me. I cried my eyes out for several nights following that event. I was there at Jason's funeral. He was buried with the help of the money that people had donated. It had been a closed casket, so I could not see my friend one last time. After I graduated high school, I took my mother with me and we moved away. I've never been back to that neighborhood, and I don't even want to go back again. But due to the fact that Jason had shot himself on Facebook Live, the video of him dying had been recorded and had gone viral. I've seen it being circulated on many sites. This has led to me being very hesitant of clicking on any random videos because I was afraid I would find the one of my best friend's death and my old wounds would be ripped open. I hope Jason is at peace wherever he is. And I hope sharing my story serves a lesson and reminds everyone that deadly weapons like guns are not some children's toy. Thank you for watching this video. Have you experienced a similar situation or another scary experience? Don't hesitate to submit your story by email or in the comments section down below. Ready for your next chills before sleep? Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for us to provide you with more scary stories. Let us know what you think and don't forget to enable all notifications. Be the first ones to get the chills.